Stage 3, Scarlet Border, Scarlet Land. Background music is Shanghai Tea House, Chinese tea. So we've reached the gates of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, but there's a bit more we're gonna have to fight through in order to reach the mansion proper. So that noise you just heard means that I gained an extra life, because I reached the 10 million point mark. This is why I told you last time that you're gonna want to try and collect as many of these blue point blocks as possible, because they're worth about 100,000 points each. Now, it's not every 10 million points that you earn an extra life, it's certain markers. It's at the 10 million mark, the 20 million mark, the 40 million mark, and the 60 million mark that you earn an extra life. There is another way to earn extra lives, but I'll show you that later. So, if you've been listening at all, you probably know that the music in this game is really amazing, and I recommend that you keep an ear out for the level in the later levels because it only gets better. If you like this music, I also recommend that you should want to try and check out the other games in the series, because the music in them is all really amazing as well. I know the music in these games is a big draw and why a lot of people, including me, love these games. It's just really great to listen to these music and also to listen to all the thousands of remixes there are out there. Oh yeah, here's a mid-boss. And yes, mid-bosses can also have spell cards. Here's your first spell card, Flower Sign, Gorgeous Sweet Flower. As the name suggests, it is pretty easy on the eyes, but it's also pretty easy. Just focus on what's ahead and you'll be fine. So as you saw in that cutscene, I was able to pick up an extra life by defeating the mid-boss. The mid-bosses on the different stages will drop different items. Usually it's these mid-bosses on the even-numbered stages will drop an extra bomb, and the mid-bosses on the odd-numbered stages will drop an extra life. So the shot type that I've been using for this stage is Reinu's second shot type, Persuasion Needle and Evil Seeming Circle. It does a bit more damage than her first shot type, but not as much as Marissa's will do, but I still prefer it over Homing Amulet. Anyway, that's the end of this stage. This is the Chinese girl, Hong Mei Ling. Her theme is Shanghai Alice of Meiji 17. Her profile from this game reads as thus: Ability Usage of Qi. Stage 3 Boss, a Chinese-looking yokai. Her clothing is colorful and somewhat traditional. She's the gatekeeper of the Scarlet Devil Mansion and prevents intruders from beyond the lake from reaching into the mansion. She's by no means a special character, but she is the first character that has something to do with the main story, even if that something happens to be merely mentioning the mistress. So as her profile says, Mei Ling is the first boss we encounter that is involved with the main story of this game. The first two bosses were really just troublesome yokai that we ran into on our way over here. As her title suggests, she is of Chinese origin. One of the reoccurring themes of this game is that all of the characters have a more Western origin than most characters in the Touhou series. One thing that's not explained is that she is a master of Tai Chi. Now, this would make her a threat if we were fighting her physically, but since we're fighting with Danmaku, she's not that imposing. This is her first spell card, Rainbow Sign, Wind Chime of Colorful Rainbow. This is a really fun spell card, both to watch and to play against. All you have to do to clear it is to follow the path that the spiral will create. It's kind of simple, but it's really satisfying. It looks really cool, and when you're able to clear it correctly, it has a really nice feeling and rhythm to it. So, in the fan works, Mei Ling is usually displayed as being kind of lazy and not really good at her job at guarding the mansion. This probably comes from the fact that we're the only people who have ever really tried to get in the mansion, and she doesn't stop us. Now, the specific species of Mei Ling has never been revealed, but a lot of people tend to associate her with dragons, due to the fact that she shares a lot of similarities with them. Her name might be a reference to a type of Chinese dragon from mythology, and also her motif of rainbows is also something that a lot of dragons from various mythologies have in common with her. This is her second spell card, Colorful Sign, Colorful Rain. Now, this spell card along with her next spell card are both really good spells to practice on. They don't have any real specific strategy or pattern to them, they're just tests of how good you are at dodging. They're also really good places to practice a more advanced concept, which is expanding your visual range. Now, beginners will often make the mistakes of only focusing on the area immediately around their character. This isn't really that optimal, except outside for maybe doing really precise micro dodges, but what you want to try and do is practice expanding your visual range, so that you're able to track more bullets on screen. Ideally, you want to be able to see the entire screen at once, and be able to track all the objects so that you know where the best places to dodge are. As you can imagine, this is really hard and it takes a lot of practice, but a trick is to not really focus on anything in particular, just sort of observe the entire screen at once. Don't let your eyes follow any in particular shot, just focus on the entire movement. Think of it more like it's a river. You don't focus on the individual droplets of water, you just watch the motion of the entire thing. Here's her third and final spell card, Colorful Sign, Extreme Color Typhoon. Now, talking about practicing, another practice technique that I would recommend you try if you want to get better at this game is turning off bombs. You can turn off bombs by going to Options on the title screen and turning bombs to 0. Bombs in Touhou act as kind of a safety net. If you get yourself into a bad situation or are about to lose a life, you can spend a bomb to save yourself. But by taking away that safety net, it forces you to deal with those situations that you would rather just bomb through. So it'll make you better just through dealing with that, but it'll also teach you more about what the hitboxes are and when you should bomb more effectively. Because I find myself personally bombing more out of panic when I think I'm about to die, but when I turn these bombs off, I get into situations where I would normally bomb, but find out I get through it fine. Still, if you are just trying to clear the game, I would not discourage bombing, because it is still preferable to lose a bomb rather than lose a life. That's the end of Stage 3. See you guys at Stage 4.